Today, I will talk about what not to do when learning Japanese. I've made some of these mistakes myself, and I've seen a lot of other learners fall into the same traps. So if you're learning Japanese, I will explain 7 common mistakes you should avoid in your learning journey. Writing everything by hand. Now, I know some people love writing kanji by hand, but for most learners, especially if you're busy with work or school, writing is just not a good return on your time investment. You don't need to write kanji to read kanji. You don't need to write sentences to speak or listen to Japanese. Focus on recognition, not reproduction. Unless you specifically want to work in a handwritten environment in Japan or you're preparing for a kanji writing exam, writing everything out by hand just isn't necessary. Relying too much on flashcards. Flashcards can feel productive, but there's a huge difference between recall and understanding. Just because you can remember a word when it pops up on your Anki deck does not mean you can truly know how it's used. Vocabulary learned in isolation tends to fade quickly, but vocabulary you see in context for reading manga, books, blogs, or even tweets sticks with you because your brain connects it to real use cases. So instead of grinding flashcards endlessly, try reading more. You'll absorb vocabulary more naturally, and you'll also get grammar, nuance, and style along the way. Not doing JLPT practice questions soon enough. If you're aiming for the JLPT, practice questions are non-negotiable. A lot of learners wait until the last few weeks to start practicing, but by then, it's too late to get familiar with the test format. The JLPT is just as much about test strategy as it is about language knowledge. You need to know how the questions are worded, where the traps are, and how to manage your time. Even doing 1 or 2 practice questions a week can make a huge difference. If you're not preparing for the test, it's still worth doing them occasionally. They help sharpen your reading and listening comprehension under pressure. Using English subtitles on Japanese content. Now this one is super common, especially for beginners. Watching anime or J-dramas with English subtitles. Feels like you're immersing in Japanese, but your brain is actually reading English the whole time. Switching to Japanese subtitles or no subtitles at all will feel hard at first, but it trains your ear and your brain to actually process Japanese. Even if you only catch 20% of what's being said, that 20% is real input. If the goal is comprehension and not translation, you have to get used to listening without the English crutch. Overdoing listening practice. Alright, this might sound contradictory, but hear me out. Some people spend way too much time doing JLPT style listening practice, even when their listening is already a strength. The thing is, those listening questions are artificial. They're useful for test prep, but they're not always the best for improving real-world comprehension. Instead of spending hours on those, try listening to native content, podcasts, YouTube, slice-of-life shows, anything with natural Japanese at real-life speed. You can even increase the playback speed to continue challenging your input practice. Then in the final month before the JLPT, you can then shift into an exam-style listening to adjust to the test format. Obsessing over pitch accent. Pitch accent is a hot topic lately, and yes, it does matter, but not as much as people make it out. Unless you're aiming for native level fluency or doing voice acting, obsessing over pitch accent early can be more stressful than helpful. Most native speakers can understand you even if your pitch is off, and in most cases, the context will carry the meaning, not the pitch. That said, if you're in an advanced stage and want to refine your pronunciation, go for it. But beginners and intermediates, don't let pitch accent anxiety hold you back. Not enough output. I get it. The JLPT doesn't test speaking or writing, so a lot of learners focus entirely on input. But here's the thing, output strengthens input. When you're trying to speak or write, you're forced to recall vocabulary, apply grammar, and notice what's missing in your understanding. That feedback loop makes your passive knowledge active. You don't need a conversation partner every day. Even just shadowing, talking to yourself, or journaling in Japanese can make a huge difference. So, let's recap on the 7 common mistakes. First is writing everything by hand. Second is relying too much on flashcards. Third is not doing JLPT practice questions early enough. Fourth is using English subtitles on Japanese content. Fifth is overdoing JLPT listening practice. 6 is obsessing over pitch accent, and 7 is not enough output. Learning Japanese is a long journey. Avoiding these common mistakes will help you make more progress with less frustration. If you found this helpful, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on learning Japanese effectively. And let me know in the comments, which one of these did you fall into? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.